Why do we ache for people who were never ours? Why does the thought of them return at night, like an echo that refuses to die down? Why do memories of someone we never truly held still feel heavier than those we actually lived? It's strange, isn't it? To miss someone who never promised you anything, who never belonged to you, and yet left a space in your heart so vast, it feels like a wound. Think about it. We replay conversations that never happened. We imagine scenarios that never took place. We craft entire futures in our heads. A life, a love, a destiny, all built on the smallest of sparks. A glance, a smile, a moment where their presence touched us in a way we couldn't explain. And yet when we're alone, we find ourselves grieving, as if we lost something. But how can you lose something that was never yours? Still, the ache is real. It doesn't matter that logic says otherwise. It doesn't matter that the world tells you there was nothing between you two. Because in your heart, there was something. Missing them feels as raw and consuming as missing someone who once belonged to you. It feels unfair, it feels confusing, but it is undeniably human. Maybe the truth is this: it's not the person we miss. It's who we became when we thought of them. It's the version of ourselves that only existed in their light. When they were near, even in silence, something inside us awakened. A softness, a hope, a dream. They weren't just a person, they were a possibility. We didn't fall for reality, we fell for the potential of what could have been. We didn't lose a lover, we lost a dream we built around them. And that's why it hurts so deeply, because dreams feel real, even if they never leave the mind. When they shatter, the pain is no less than losing something tangible. Perhaps the hardest part is realizing that we are grieving a phantom, not the what was, but the what could have been. And sometimes, what could have been feels heavier than what was. Because reality, once lived, has its closure. But fantasy has no ending. It lingers, unfinished, a song without its final note. Think of it this way. Have you ever read the first chapter of a story, but never the rest? Your mind keeps wondering how it could have ended. Your imagination fills the gaps, building scenes and conclusions that may never exist. That's what it's like to miss someone who was never ours. Sometimes the deepest wounds are carved not by betrayal, but by silence. Not by a breakup, but by the absence of what never began. A love story unfinished still leaves behind its ending in us. We wonder, what if they had felt the same? What if we had spoken sooner? What if life had aligned differently? And those what ifs become heavier than goodbyes. Because at least goodbyes give you something to hold on to. A last word, a last look, a last memory. But with someone who was never ours, there is no goodbye. There is only an eternal pause. A door half open, half closed, that the heart never stops staring at. Missing them is like chasing a fragrance in the wind. You can feel it. It wraps around you. But no matter how far you run, you can never hold it in your hands. And the strangest part? Sometimes they don't even know. They walk around, smiling, laughing, living their lives, unaware that in the quiet corners of your heart, they are a ghost you keep returning to. It feels unfair, but that's the weight of silent love. The kind that never reaches the surface, yet burrows the deepest roots. But here's something to remember. Maybe it's not truly them we miss. Maybe what we miss is the way we dreamed when they were in our world. The way hope felt alive. The way life seemed more poetic, more vibrant, more full of possibility. They were the canvas. But the colors, the patterns, the painting, all came from us. We gave life to that dream. We gave meaning to that connection. And if that's true, then perhaps the beauty was never in them, but in us. Maybe the lesson of missing someone who was never ours is realizing that the love we felt, the longing we carried, the stories we built, they all reveal something about us. Our capacity to hope, our ability to feel deeply, our courage to imagine a world better than the one we live in. And isn't that beautiful in itself? Yes, the dream didn't come true. Yes, the story never began. But dreams, even when unfulfilled, have their own kind of beauty. Because they remind us of what our hearts are capable of. And maybe, instead of mourning what never was, we can cherish what it revealed about who we are. We are people capable of loving deeply, even in silence. We are people who can see light even in the smallest sparks. We are people who can imagine something beautiful out of nothing at all. And that is not weakness. That is strength. So let me ask you, have you ever missed someone who was never yours? Have you ever felt the weight of an unfinished story? Have you ever carried the ghost of a what if in your heart? If you have, you're not alone. We all carry those whispers. And sometimes the healing begins when we share them aloud. So share your story below, because maybe your words will remind someone else that they aren't alone either. And together, in this shared silence, we might find a little bit of peace.